welcome to the JoJo's Bizarre Retrospective podcast. I'm your host, Shin, and this is my co-host, Andrew Escona.
Hello, it's me.
Hello, we're starting with Phantom Blood, the one that began it all.
Right, but should we tell the viewers kind of what is this JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Because I don't know if they know. They probably know. But do you know any way we could sum it up basically for anyone who's not familiar?
How about it's just a vampire that wants to mess with the generation of I don't know, how do I explain this?
Sometimes it's not a vampire. Sometimes it's a bunch of Aztec stripper gods. Sometimes it's David Bowie with a hand fetish.
Sometimes it's a mafia boss, a president.
Yeah, a mafia boss who may or may not be the reincarnation of the devil dressed as an Italian stripper. It's weird, but it works.
Yeah. So, well,
yeah, sweet.
You barely started this part, right?
Yeah. So, just for the audience to know, the host here, Shin, has he's been a JoJo fan for longer than I have.
Yeah, like almost a year and a half.
Right. So he's caught up to part 5 in the manga. I mean, he's done with part 5, and he's gonna be reading part 6.
Yeah, I'm starting soon.
And I will be I've been watching it recently because he talked to me like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this JoJo podcast," and I was like, "JoJo, that's a thing I've heard before. And that's pretty cool." So I'm started to watch it, and every time I finish a part, we're gonna record an episode of this podcast. This hopefully. This will be up by tomorrow, recording wise, but this is our first episode. Yeah. We had some little bit of difficulties. We had to figure out if we're gonna record on Hangouts or not. Yeah. But we finally figured out a recording setup, and it's gonna be all swell and good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so basically, Shin, how would you describe JoJo just in general?
How about it's just the most bizarre you can get for an anime?
Yeah.
It's like anything can happen. That's what I could describe it as.
I could just describe it as like a 48-year-old like Japanese dude who thought, "Hey, I want this to happen," and then he writes it in the story because anything can go in this universe. And I would strongly declare so far that JoJo might be the most unoriginal thing I've ever watched.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and the fact that it's so creative and weird, but literally everything is probably stolen by a movie or everything is named after a band or something.
Yeah, for viewers that don't know, JoJo has a ton of musical references.
The name JoJo, in fact, is a musical reference. It's named after a Beatles song, I think.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's but it works. Just like other stuff in JoJo just works. But we're gonna be not going into the crazy stuff yet. We're gonna be doing the talking about the rather tame first part, which is
Phantom Blood.
Phantom Blood. Yeah, Phantom Blood.
Yeah, Phantom Blood's definitely more conservative compared to other parts. Like there's weird stuff in here, but it's definitely like way more tamed.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's like, as someone who watched it, it's kind of like a letdown if you're thinking like, oh my god, this like the JoJo can be the craziest thing you've ever watched. And it's not the craziest. I know it gets crazier, but I'll get into my thoughts later. But I think right now we should probably let me see. We should probably get into basically the intro of the part, like the opening, or do you want to start with the plot first?
Let's get to the intro. So what do you think of this intro?
Okay, so basically I'm gonna be a contrarian, right? Because I think personally that JoJo has some of the best intros consistently compared to any other anime. I started watching.
I'd agree for sure.
Cause like what I've noticed about other anime is that it's usually like some hard rock thing. They get some annoying like Japanese singer to sing, and then it's like a bunch of flashy colors, and it's like someone fighting.
Like it's just noise. Like I can't get into it. It's not really catchy.
Definitely, because I don't remember the melodies. But like there are a few exceptions, like Cowboy Bebop, which is like probably one of the best. But I'm gonna get ahead of myself. JoJo, I think I've seen all the intros so far. Probably spoiled the parts for myself. We'll see once I actually watch them. I think JoJo might have like some of the best. Yeah. Like at least like from what I've seen, some of the best intros I've ever seen in anything ever, like any anime ever. Mostly even TV show. Because this is the first one, Sono Chino Sarame. That's a weeb thing to say, but they do not have an English translation.
No, they
I
don't.
want to start with Shin though, because he's the host. I've been talking a lot. What are your
That's
thoughts on
fine.
some of
You're the
the
co-host.
I know, but I want you
I
to
love
talk about
this. I love this theme. It's incredibly catchy. Like the first time I heard it, like I already got into it. That's how
it.
good
Yeah,
it is. Like it has some
especially
great instrumentals, some great vocals.
yeah,
It just like feels powerful as a theme, and it like fits Jonathan perfectly.
yeah. That's what I think as well. And something what I think the coolest part about it though is the beginning, because it flashes from I think it's part eight's JoJo, and then it goes all the way down to Jonathan. Goes to
That's
like
like it was
yeah,
showing that this anime adaptation was an event. Like we were waiting
definitely.
forever for this.
Because like JoJo is such an important part of like Japan, just not even like Japanese media, but just animation and just media as a whole, kind of. It's
Culture in
influenced
general.
a
Like
lot of. Mhm.
JoJo's had like an influence on games and stuff as well, and movies.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the game series Persona, or at least play as
Mhm.
Joker in Smash Bros. That it's just a giant JoJo reference, maybe
Mhm.
even a ripoff, because most of the games are just JoJo plots. But no, but like, yeah, watching it, the 3D really threw me off because when I was first getting into the show, I thought that the entire show was going to be in 3D.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I was just thinking like, like this is going to be the entire show. It looks a little bit weird, but like the 3D like opening looks really good, and it's like really, it's unlike most like anime intros because it's always like an edgy character standing in a field, and then something like a dove flying in the camera, and then they're like firing machine guns at an enemy as like a female is like going all crazy with vocals, and then it shows like the title. Well, like it takes its time with this intro, right? And like the
Mhm.
colors and like I think it being 3D makes it like stand out because it's not too distracting, but like it has a lot of like life and energy, like all the colors, and it looks it looks hand drawn, which is a big plus.
Yep.
I just find it to be like one of the it's really good. I think compared to other intros, it kind of falters, but
Yeah.
like, dude, the vocalist is insane.
Dude,
Like,
I saw it live and it was awesome.
yeah,
Well,
he
I
yells
didn't
at
see it live
JoJo for a long
myself. I watched a live video of it.
time. Right, and they still bring him back for like other intros, right? Like
Mhm.
Great Days, and he comes back for End of the World,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's an end of the world. We'll get to that soon.
Yeah, we'll get to the End of the
Yeah.
World, but like something so like powerful and like bombastic about it too, like you said, kind of like how it builds up
Yeah,
and
like it
kind
has
of
energy to it.
yeah, and like the floating like hallway when they're about to punch, and you just hear him hold that glass like
Yeah.
JoJo for so long.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then like if you like, it's cool in like the intro, but like if you listen to the song, like the full song, he holds it out for like 10 seconds. And it's so cool. But
Mhm.
it's like the like how energetic it is. It kind of spoils a lot of like part one, especially if you because it comes in like the second episode. So if you're
Mhm.
watching, you're like, oh, I already know like this happens and this
Well,
happens because the intro spoiled it.
yeah, maybe they're like assuming that the people already read the manga, so like they're already gonna know what's happened.
Well, yeah, because I think like they're meant as like oh, you love the manga, here's how it looks like adapted.
Hmm.
But 'cause that happens with like I heard with part five how it's mostly directed because part five is like one of the biggest parts like of the entire series, mostly in Japan. But how it's mostly just kind of like it's a kind of mostly there for people who have watched it, like read the original manga and thus
Hmm.
like kind of want to see it adapted. But yeah, do you have anything else you want to say about Sonochi no Sadame?
Yeah, the animation is like super flashy and vibrant, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so like the colors they use, right? Because mostly
Yeah.
like warm colors and like especially when they have like the like when the core is like JoJo and they have like the flashes of the manga panels
Hmm.
like animated, like that stuff is hella cool looking. Would you think that JoJo overall would look better visually if the entire show was animated like that though?
No, I don't think it
Mhm.
would fit for JoJo.
Right.
Like, how would the
You thi-
fights look? They might be a little stiff or something.
Yeah. Do you think that let me think. I'm really unprofessional. This is our first time recording a podcast
Oh
ever.
well.
But what was I gonna say? No. Well, do you think because later on they switched to 2D intros? Do you think that those 2D intros stack up like anywhere to be as good as those 3D ones, or no?
No, I feel like they should have stuck with 3D intros because that was already like a tradition at that point. Like you've been 3 parts in, 3D
Right.
intros. Like, keep it. Come on.
Yeah, I would say that it kind of like would look weird, especially with how like not flat, but how like vibrant and colorful the later parts get. Like it would look weird to have like 3D bulky models like punching air. But like, because
Yeah.
like when you look at the intros, they're really stylized because they're like 2D animated. But
Yeah.
then again, Bloody Stream, which we'll get to in part 2, is very vibrant and like very colorful, even though it's like, 3D animation for like
Yeah.
2 seconds of it. But anyways, final thoughts on Sono Chino Saname. I'm gonna
Oh,
give it my white boy rating of a thumbs up.
I love it. Thumbs up.
We're not gonna rate it ever. Let's never do that
Yeah.
again. I'm
All
never
right.
gonna pronounce that again because I know I'm pissing off a lot of JoJo fans. Like, it's not Saname, it's Saname. Like, I know.
It's okay. It's okay. All right.
Okay, so what else? Plot. Do you want to
Plot?
Do you yourself want to summarize this entire plot perfectly and not miss anything?
Yeah. It's just a story of two brothers. That's like what I could say.
That's all it is. That's the
Yeah.
entire
It's a
plot.
story of two brothers. Like,
Nothing happens.
From
Nobody dies.
yeah, from when they first meet each other to their death.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a drama, dude. It's like 9 episodes of pure sadness and agonizing reality.
All right. So, first thing we see, first episode, first 10 minutes, the JoJo family, it got into a crash. And
Happens.
that's where Dio's dad, like, he meets Jonathan's dad.
Yeah.
And like Jonathan got the wrong idea of Dio's dad. Like he thought he was a good person trying to help him, but no, he was just like a thief. He was trying to steal.
Yeah. I should say right now before anyone gets confused, the dad is named George Joestar, and that's the dad for JoJo. Dad for Dio is named Dario Brando. So in case we don't have to refer to them by their dads, that's their names.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good clarification.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Continue.
And the stone mask, I think JoJo's mom was carrying the stone mask.
Well,
I
okay,
remember
I think
correctly.
that's what happened. I
Yeah.
thought that it was just like that they were just carrying it by themselves, but I think the mom carried it, and she died in the
Yeah.
crash, right?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, sweet.
And I think, yeah, George Joestar takes in Dio as his son, his adopted son, because he was thanking Dario Brando.
Even though he literally
like-
tried robbing him.
Yeah, for like apparently saving his life, even though we know that's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, well, Dio arrives at the mansion, causes some ruckus,
Mm-hmm.
being
Kicks a
typical
dog.
Dio. You know how Dio is.
Kicks a dog.
Yeah,
You know.
kicks a dog,
Cooks a
tries
dog.
to bring Jonathan down to his lowest point.
Which is a dick move on his part because he just
Mhm.
met this kid, but
Yeah, so like, he kisses his girlfriend.
that was hot and also made a funny meme, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, that was sad. That was a terrible move on his part.
I know it was. No, it was hella sad watching that because I always saw that meme out of context and people would keep on quoting it. It'll just get all funny. And I watched it and I'm like, dude, this sucks, dude. Like, JoJo doesn't deserve this.
Yeah. So then, like, yeah, he's just bullying Jonathan. He burns his dog alive.
Yeah. And no one suspects it's Dio, even though it obviously is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll get into that later. Continue.
Yeah, and then, yeah, he's just straight up bullying him.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, yeah. So kind of forgetting what's happening.
Yeah. You mind
Can
if
you
I pick up
refresh
where
on
you left off? Yeah, so Dio like one day is like, I'm gonna talk trash to you, Jonathan, because I don't like you, and I'm gonna be the best. And then
Mhm.
Jonathan's like, no, you're not, and they fight. And then George is like, I'm gonna put both you guys. Doesn't he put him to like a boarding school or something?
No, I don't think he does. Like,
Okay.
he tells them
'Cause
to
we're-
clean up their act, like, get it together.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, Dio, like, he knows this plan is not going to work. Being, like, outright mean to Jonathan is not going to get him. He's not going to, like, fulfill his goal.
So he has to be even more sadistic and kind of like pretend to be his friend for this time.
He's, like, giving the false impression that he's his friend, like, he's his true brother.
Yeah,
and you
they're
see
buddies.
that, like, when they're at the softball game. Like,
Isn't it rugby?
oh, yeah, rugby, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's alright. Yeah, they're just having a good old time. They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, JoJo, you're my best bud. We're
Yeah.
brothers." And then you can see, and they do the little monologue in their mind. And JoJo's like, I like my brother, but I don't know if he's cool. And then cuts to Dio, and Dio's like, "Dude, I really just want to murder this dude already."
Yeah.
God, he's such an asshole. But that's kind of
Dude,
why we love
honest-
Dio.
No, I'll get into it later, like why he's like this.
hmm
And honestly, I don't know if you could sympathize with him, but
With Dio?
yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that when we get to the characters. But let's see. From this point on, they get back from their rugby thing. I think they go
Mhm.
back to the house, and like doesn't Jonathan say something like he wants to? Is he? No, wait. I think I know what happens, right? So doesn't Dio try poisoning George Joestar again,
Hmm.
and then
To get his
Jonathan?
inheritance.
Yeah, but does this happen before or after the time skip?
Happens right there, like right
Okay.
that night when they were playing rugby. I think.
So yeah, he tries to poison George, and Jonathan's like, "No, don't do that, you meaniehead," and then he doesn't.
Mhm.
And then, so does this lead to JoJo going to where is it, London?
Yeah, I think
Right.
so. And that's where
So
he meets Speedwagon, and they get in a little scuffle. And then all of a sudden, Speedwagon, like, he all of a sudden loves Jonathan, and he wants to do anything for him.
Which is weird, but we'll get into that later. And he uses a saw blade hat, which he never uses again, which could have been.
But that was cool. Well,
Yeah,
it was
no.
the thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then I think Jonathan gets to his mansion.
Yeah. Well, no, he
And
finds
then-
a dealer, right? Doesn't he find out who's like dealing the poison to Dio?
Yeah, he does.
And then Dio's in the street, like also getting really drunk or something.
And that's where he first like sees the Stone Mask's power.
Yeah, because he takes it and he's like, "I'm gonna test it out on someone," I think. And then he puts it on the guy, and the guy becomes a vampire.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, I gotta use this on myself.
Bro, this would be so dope to become a vampire.
Like,
And then he goes to the mansion, and then JoJo's like, "Hey Dio, guess what? I laid out this entire plan that's gonna expose you for being like really mean." And then Speedwagon comes on the chat. He's like, "Yeah, he's right. I literally knew this dude for like less than a day, but like, yeah, he's totally right." And everyone's like, "Wow, Dio, like you really suck, man." Like George is like, "Dude, I thought you were like my son. I thought we were like really close, bro, but like we're not." And Dio's like, "No, it's okay. It's all good. I'm gonna cry for a little bit, but it's fake crying because I'm gonna slice Jonathan's. What does he slice?"
Oh yeah, he said he's gonna use the blood of George Joestar to turn into a vampire.
Oh, was it George? I thought it was Jonathan, right?
I think it was either like Joestar blood.
Okay, well, either way, he's like, "I'm gonna cut one of you fools and I'm gonna make it on the mask, and then the mask is gonna turn me into a vampire." And then he immediately gets shot up and dies. But he doesn't.
But he doesn't, because he's a vampire.
Yeah, he's immortal now. And then he starts doing really gruesome acts that were censored for television.
Yep.
And
a guy near the window got his head ripped off.
Yeah. All we saw was just a giant black blur, sadly, but you can tell what's going on.
And that's where Dio does his trademark re.
Yeah, although it's much creepier and less funny than the other times he uses it.
Not over the top.
Yeah, not like destroying his lungs. But he kills mostly everyone. Speedwagon leaves, I think, and then George dies, and he has an emotional goodbye to his son. And JoJo's like, "Man, I'm mad now. I'm gonna kill this Dio fella." And we have the probably the first big fight of the show.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome fight. Entire mansion is on fire. There's a lot of high stakes here. Jonathan is definitely outmatched here. He's like basically fighting a superhuman.
Yeah, because Dio's like his reflexes are really quick and like he's kind of overpowered. But it's because the other fights are just kind of scuffles. But like this was kind of the first fight where I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty interesting. Let me see how it goes.
Yeah, this is a fight right here.
Because like it's not super powered. It's to me there's one super powered guy, but the other guy is like not. He's just a normal dude. So like, it's very interesting to see how he uses his wits. He's like, I'm gonna. Doesn't he? Okay, so I think his plan is like he tries to throw him like into the fire, but like he tries impaling him on a statue, right? With the fall. Yeah, so that's what he does. And like Dio is like burning up in the mansion, and then the episode ends, and we think he's dead. And then it turns out that JoJo's okay. He's in bandages, and his little girlfriend Erin is there, and she's like, "Oh, your muscles are so big. I've been healing you this entire time and staring at you while you sleep." And Speedwagon's like, hey, I've also been staring at you while you sleep. Because he has an unofficial man crush. That's my headcanon. But then it turns out Dio's not dead. He's too busy putting masks on people and showing them how cool it looks.
He's making his little army.
Yeah, he's making his cool little toy army dudes.
And this is where JoJo meets, well, William Zapelli.
Yeah. And his fancy magician hat as he eats like a sandwich or something.
Mm-hmm. And this is where he like learns the power of Hamon.
Yeah. He learns it by seeing William Zapelli out of nowhere just randomly punch a frog.
Yeah.
That doesn't
like he sees that Hamon can give life to things.
Right. But it also can like work in weird ways. Like because when he punches the frog, it like destroys the rock underneath and not the actual frog.
Mm-hmm.
So then JoJo's like, yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Jonathan and Zapelli, like they travel to Dio. They're looking for him.
Uh-huh.
And then they go fight his army of zombies.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where the two knights, you know, Bruford and Tarkus. Yeah, that's where they fight.
We have an entire episode like dedicated to their flashback that doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah, honestly, like people find these villains forgettable, but I think they were cool.
I think they're cool.
They had some cool fights.
I just thought that we didn't need the giant flashback on them because we weren't there for too long. Like a brief little explanation would have worked, and I think it took away from a bunch of like the fighting time. But the way the way the fights with both of them ended, I thought were like really good.
Mm-hmm.
But so don't they fight Dio for a bit though?
Yeah, they fight him for a bit.
Yeah. Is this where we see Speedwagon use his abs to like melt Jonathan's frozen leg or something?
Oh no, I think that's not till later.
Oh, because I don't remember it appearing later. I don't remember it, but it might. I don't know.
I hope the viewers forgive me for my sloppy retelling of the part, but I haven't watched it in quite a while.
Forgive both of us for our awful retellings and butchering of the series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look up right now on Google. You can continue. I'm gonna look up when Speedwagon like melts someone's frozen arm with his abs.
So yeah, then this is where the fight with Bruford takes place. You know, Jonathan gets his little sword that he would use later to kill Dio, or at least harm him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
and then later, you know, they get Jonathan and Zapelli. You know, they go to the little mountain thing with Tarkus. They chase him. Zapelli dies in an epic way. I got to say that the way he died was awesome.
Was Bruford the knight, like the small one, and Tarkus the big one?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. But yeah, so they fight Bruford, and Bruford's like, "Yo, JoJo, that was a pretty fun fight. I want to give you my sword." And doesn't he like it's like luck, right? But then he puts it in pluck.
Yeah, he turns it to pluck.
That's probably a musical reference somehow, or like something that I don't understand. But
it's probably a musical reference.
You know, I'm gonna do at the end of this podcast. I need to look up all the musical references. But no, bro. Okay, so looking at Speedwagon's hot abs, and there's a Twitter page called Speedwagon's hot abs.
Oh wow.
We need a montage. We need to like advertise that page now. I don't even know what's on it. I don't know if it's like some liberal or like some racist, but we should definitely like advertise them.
Yeah, anyway, definitely. It's awesome.
Yeah, so Tarkus is like, I'm gonna choke you out, JoJo. I'm gonna kill this little kid that you met along the way named Poco, who's looking for his sister. And like, I'm gonna choke you out.
Forgettable. I'm sorry, he's forgettable.
I forgot he existed until I mentioned him, like right there. And then, like as Shin said, Zapelli is like, "Nah, I'm gonna go like sacrifice myself, dude." And he gets torn in half.
Yep.
Yeah. Jeez. And then, doesn't Zapelli give JoJo the rest of his Hamon energy or something?
He gives him his experience.
Gold experience.
And then later, randomly, like 5 more or whatever more Hamon users just come up with a Jonathan and Speedwagon and Poco, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna help you defeat Dio."
Yeah, we're sorry that our friend died. We were like literally on our way, but like we weren't needed till like right now in the plot.
Yeah.
So like,
and one of them becomes evil later.
We'll get to that. But they meet up with them and like we gotta go get to Dio because Dio's like forcing moms to eat their babies because he's like really messed up.
And he's turning like animal. He's putting animals together. He's making weird things.
He has like cats with like dude heads. It's really weird.
Yeah, they go to Dio's little fortress. They have a little scuffle, which was awesome, and that's where Dio does his signature Muda.
Is that where he does it for the first time?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh wait, no, he does it in the mansion. He's like walking to Jonathan, and he
Oh,
says
yeah,
like
yeah.
Muda, Muda, Muda. But yeah, no, he does Muda again in the castle because he likes using that word a lot.
So yeah, here's the final battle. It was pretty fun. It was a little intense. What did you think of it?
The final battle was pretty cool. I didn't really care for all the other like Hamon users, and we'll get to them later. But like the fight between Jonathan and Dio was very satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool because it's mostly like the thing with JoJo that they throw the thing with JoJo. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up. They throw out all these impossible like attacks. They never know like how they're like these impossible kind of moves. They're like, how could the heroes get out of this one? And then somehow they make it out of like it, right?
It's always gonna outsmart.
So like Dio like has like so Dio freezes Jonathan and like sticks his two fingers in his neck, which is really weird. And he's like, "Oh, bro, I'm gonna rip out your windpipe or something."
Then, that was brutal.
Yeah, but he's like, I have it between my fingers. I'm gonna like squeeze it and tear it off, you little, meanie. And then Jonathan's like, oh, well, joke's on you. My sword was like right through you, and it started getting hot because like the tip was right in the flame of a candle behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like not melting myself anymore, and I could be free. It's like weird stuff like that, which I always find like to be interesting about JoJo fights.
Yeah, like it's interesting. Like no matter how strong the villain is gonna be, the heroes who are much weaker will always find a way to win. That's what I love.
Yeah, especially with kind of like part 2, which I've been watching recently. Part 2 is really into that, but we'll get into that later.
Oh, also for clarification, we're talking about the anime plot here, because like I know there's a pretty major fight missing in the anime that was in the manga.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll probably get to that later, but
yeah.
So JoJo kills Dio, and Dio's like, I'm falling and I'm melting. Then he falls off the edge. And his head's there. And then everyone's like, that was so cool. Jonathan's gonna go back and marry Erina. And then the Speedwagon smashes a stone mask with a sledgehammer. And yeah, so Jonathan and Erina are on a boat. They just got married. Erina's pregnant, and they're like, I'm so happy. Little do we know, and by little do we know, I mean we already know because we see at the beginning of the last episode that the drug dealer that gave Dio the poison has rescued his head. So you can continue off of this part and finish it.
So yeah, Dio's head is on the boat. Big twist. Yeah,
very big twist. Continue.
Yeah, Dio intends to live forever by severing Jonathan's head and getting on, his body, which he actually does succeed in doing. So, Jonathan is fatally wounded. The ship is on fire, blowing up. And then Erina, they escape into Dio's coffin with another baby, who we obviously know who that is later.
Yeah, we'll get to her later.
Yeah, they get rescued in the Canary Islands. And they're still, carrying his unborn child.
Yes.
And then Erina vows to pass on the truth of Jonathan's life to her child.
Very much so.
Yeah. And then Jonathan and Dio, they're having a scuffle. Jonathan holds Dio in his arms while he's dying, which is really sad.
It's especially sad because Dio's a little like, dude, like I've won, and he realizes that his brother is dead, and he's like, oh no, and then the ship explodes.
Like I feel, Jonathan's really the only person that Dio could respect,
and Jonathan still cared for Dio despite him hating him or whatever. Because even in his last moment, he hugs him and embraces him. Which I find to be really emotional, really impactful.
Another really sad thing is you learn that Jonathan died for nothing because Dio is still alive.
Yeah, we'll get to that with part 3 because that's when it gets crazy. But yeah, part 1 ends.
Yeah, part 1 ends. That's the ending.
That's the ending. Don't watch the show after this point. But nah. So yeah, plot. I don't know how to criticize a plot. It's a standard plot.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun adventure.
It's a very fun adventure, but although personally, because I watched the anime, I don't know if you felt this, but I did. I felt that the middle of it was very boring, and like not a
Yeah,
lot happened.
I felt pretty disinterested in the beginning, like when they were going to, like right when William Zappelli was training Jonathan. Yeah, I felt pretty
Yeah.
disinterested. Sure.
And like they were fighting Zombie Jack the Ripper, and I'm like, this is cool in concept, but I just don't care.
Yeah, like, all right, let's just get to Dio. Come on.
Yeah, because Dio, okay. So should we just segue into characters right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dio's like the best character in this part, like by far.
Hmm.
What do you think of Dio?
Oh, Dio's a great character. I'd say he's definitely the best in this part.
Right. Because I've always heard a lot about praising Dio, about he's like such a good villain in this part. And when I
Mhm.
started watching it, I don't think he's as good as everyone says, personally, but I think that he's very like captivating to watch. When you really think about like at least in this part of like who he is as a character, he's very kind of tame. He's like an evil Italian dude who's like, I want to just become all powerful and basically become God because my name means God in Italian and that's cool.
Mhm.
And he's just like he yells a lot, but he's mostly like he works so well because he's just so interesting to watch and like you hate him
Yeah.
because of how much of a scumbag he is.
Mhm.
Like burning a dog alive or forcing a mom to eat their baby. It's the way like it could be done like very like in a very generic and very uninteresting way if it was like some other villain, but this is mostly a testament to kind of like the voice acting, especially it just gives him
Yeah.
such personality.
Oh yeah, there's just like great voice acting in JoJo as a whole.
Dude, all of like JoJo probably has like some of the best voices like in
Mhm.
general. Because there's a bunch of people yelling at each other and then like making really like over exaggerating everything.
Yeah. So yeah, Dio. We're
Mhm.
just gonna talk about him first because he's the most interesting, right?
Yeah.
And he's had
And
like a huge like impact on the JoJo franchise. Like a lot of villains just tie into him later.
yeah, no, he's like has like the longest
Mhm.
impact outside of Jonathan because he's the great 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 grandfather or whatever of this entire series, but
Yeah.
of all the JoJos. But
Yeah.
he's very like Dio's also like the second biggest character,
Mhm.
and like he's very imposing and very like threatening. I just find him like very interesting to like watch. Um, I'd say he's way more interesting than Jonathan, who I thought was
Yeah.
a very boring character.
Uh, yeah, he's definitely the least interesting JoJo, right?
Yeah, I think it might be just because he doesn't have anything else to him besides like being a good gentleman.
Yeah, like,
Because like,
no, I'm nice. I'm gonna be friendly to anyone.
I might be a doofus, but I'm a good boy at heart, and it's just
Yeah.
very annoying. Because like the entire beginning, where they have the montage of like the dad like being like rude to like his son, and like, look, you should be more like Dio, and it's all like dropped something. Hopefully, it didn't come through. But it's just very kind of like annoying to like go through that entire plot of like like Dio's gonna be evil in the end, and you're just seeing this entire like ridiculous amount of hate thrown towards Jonathan. I guess it
Mhm.
does help though, because it makes him feel like, oh, I want to see him kick Dio's ass in the future. I want to see him get
Yeah.
the girl, and it's very satisfying to watch that happen. But I just don't really like watching him like fight. I mean, not fight, but like no, I don't really like watching him fight that much because he does interesting moves. But I don't like, unlike Joseph, because I've been watching part two. I don't think
Mhm.
that he's as fun to watch as Joseph. We'll get to
Yeah.
Joseph later because I don't want
Because
to
like,
like start crossing in different parts. But Jonathan's like very meh.
mhm. He's not gonna do any like crazy outsmarting or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like brute force basically. That's
He's
kind of cool.
straightforward.
Yeah, he's very straightforward, both like physically and then like character wise.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, he kind of follows just the basic beats of the hero's journey, and he's just kind of a standard hero. But I think the thing that like the one moment where I was like, oh, I do care for Jonathan now is like the scene he dies. Because I think like the weird
Yeah.
thing with part one for me is that I find most of the characters really bland. But
Yeah, like
whenever they
honestly,
die,
like, can you
yeah,
blame Araki? Like, this is his first time going. Like, he
I
didn't
mean,
get the formula down yet.
mean, not his first time like writing in manga, because he wrote
Yeah,
the
but
series
like
down.
he was still like getting the JoJo franchise down.
I guess.
Like I
I can
don't think
see
he
that.
had any idea that it would turn this huge when he wrote this.
Definitely, because he was just making kind of a Fist of the North Star clone almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar, both like artistically and like all that. But I just kind of, I still kind of just found Jonathan a little bit like boring. But like all the emotional beats of JoJo, even for characters I didn't care for, I still found to be really like good. Like really, like they landed really well.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Dyer, I just couldn't care less when he was all happy dying in the roses. But I forgot he even was a character, so I just brought up Death. But he's just I don't care for Dyer.
Like he exists. That's all I could say about him.
That's all I could really say about like all the characters in part one. Like Jonathan,
sadly.
Jonathan is like pretty standard, but he's like his emotional beats work really well because he's like very like not really relatable, but like very heartwarming to watch and very like innocent. And then Dio's like kind of standard, but he's so fun to watch. He's just a raging douche. And then you get Zappelli, who's the basic mentor, and the only thing I remember him doing is punching a frog and then snapping at someone and yelling, "Hey, baby!"
Yeah,
That's
like
what I
William
remember.
Zappelli. Like he's just wise. He's just a wise Hamon teacher. Like that was his entire character.
Yeah,
That's his
and
motive.
the training didn't even go on for that long. It was like like not even half an episode. It was like 5 minutes of an episode.
It's like, okay, I didn't train you that much, but I'm just gonna give you my knowledge, and you'll be as good as me.
And he doesn't really fight a lot. He doesn't have any memorable fighting moments outside of the moment he gets ripped in half.
Yeah, like that's the only time. Like that's his most memorable moment is him dying right there, and like when he accepts his fate.
I mean, you could say the same for Jonathan, but it's. I just didn't find Zappelli that interesting.
Yeah.
I did find it cool when he punched a frog though, and then yelled at a dude, saying "Hey baby" with his cool little magician hat. But I didn't find him.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, the thing with all these characters though is that all their designs are really good.
They have great designs.
They do, and it's not as good as other JoJo parts, but like Dio's like main like suit he wears is really cool looking, and all the colors are good.
Yeah, I have a hot take. I like the part 1 Dio design more than the part 3.
Ooh, I would fight you on that one. If we were talking just about like the one like the orange jacket, then I would say no. But like if you're talking about like him with just the black, then yeah.
Yeah, the jacket.
Yeah. We'll fight later on that when we get to part 3. But yeah, they all have good designs. I like Jonathan's final design. It's really simple, but I like it. And then I also like leading into another character, Speedwagon's design. That's the only thing I remember about him, besides him sitting in the corner and yelling a lot.
Yeah, Speedwagon is his entire character. Is I love you, JoJo. I will do anything for you.
I'm not gay, but I would totally smash you, JoJo. Like that's his entire character. The only thing I remember him saying was like, I remember him like throwing his cool little hat around, and then like I think there's a moment like when Dio, like a scene with Dio, and he's like, even Speedwagon is afraid, but it's not like a monologue. It's like him saying it out loud. And it's really weird. I thought that was funny. And of course, him like melting someone's like frozen leg or whatever with his hot abs. But I don't know. I thought that like the problem with most of the fights, except for the finale, but that introduces a whole other problem, is that it's mostly just characters standing around and being like, "Wow, I hope JoJo gets out of this one." They don't do anything. Like when Marcus is choking out JoJo with the chain, he's like, "Man, I hope JoJo makes it out okay," and doesn't do anything till like later. It's really kind of annoying, but I mean, Speedwagon's really fun though in the beginning, and he doesn't really have much of a presence though. I mean, no, he does. I mean, he doesn't really do a lot though physically throughout like this part and then the next one. But then we have every other character, and I don't think we have enough to say about them because they're all boring.
Yeah, maybe Arena. Yeah, she's the love interest.
Yeah, she's cute. She's blonde. She blushes a lot. That's really all that has to be said.
You have the Knights, Tarkus and Bruford. They have a little fight, a scuffle.
Yeah, I like Bruford only for this ending scene before he died, but I don't really care for Tarkus because he's just a giant like brute.
Then you have Dyer and Striso.
I don't care about either of them outside of their cool name.
Striso becomes interesting in the next part.
Yeah, but Dyer doesn't do anything. I remember like watching the finale, and there's that scene where he's like, "Oh, don't worry, guys. I like made the roses Hamon filled with my severed head. It's all good. I'll die peacefully." And I'm just like, I don't care. I just met this
You
dude, and
were
he's
introduced this episode 10 minutes ago. I don't care.
yeah, and they didn't even hint at because the weird thing with that is that Zappelli dies, and they walk out of the mansion, and suddenly like 3 monks come in, and like, "Hey, we were like Zappelli's best friends. We just appeared because like we sensed he died or whatever." And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, why should I care? Like they're interested.
And you have Poco and his sister, which is the reason they had to go rescue Poco's sister or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Like Poco is boring. He's just a kid.
Mm.
And yeah, I didn't like him. Nothing really else I could think of.
Yeah, sadly, like this part it has weaker characters.
It has a lot of weak characters.
Oh wait, we forgot about George Joestar.
Oh my god, I forgot that like Jonathan had a dad. George Joestar.
Well, what was I saying about it being forgettable?
He's just a dad. That's all he is. He's like, "Oh, I love you, son, but you're such a klutz. But you should be a dad like Dio."
The Jonathan.
Yeah.
But he admits it in the end that he was too mean to Jonathan. He favored Dio over him.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That all the like, even the death with him is like really well done and emotional. Like all the deaths in JoJo, like so far, are done really well. Except for Dyer, I still don't care about Dyer at all.
Yeah, he's the only weak one. I'd say that's definitely a positive in the part. The deaths are handled really well, and they don't feel like tacked on. They don't feel like they came out of nowhere. Like when someone dies in this, it's an event.
Yeah, there's definitely an emotional impact and like a lot there. I'm trying to think of anything else to talk about. I gotta be honest, I didn't think they used like the setting of like 1890 like London that well.
They used it for like that episode where he's like, traveling there.
Yeah, and I thought
and
that
obviously
was really
you have
cool.
like Jack the Ripper and stuff.
But it's always like in a valley, or like in the mansion, or in like a castle, like really boring locations. I feel
like this could be any time period. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think that the next part, I don't want to keep on comparing it to part 2 because that's the future, but part 2 definitely uses its time period to like the best it can.
But I think this part sounds good on its own, even with all its flaws.
I think that part 1 would have been more enjoyable, honestly, if it wasn't just in the countryside. Like if it was like in like a Victorian city for like the Tarkus and Bruford stuff, and then we transitioned over to like Dio's castle, which could have been like right next to the city. Because like this isn't like farm life. It just kind of looks boring to me, especially because the colors, at least for part 1, I find to be very drab, except for when they do those badass color switches, which is a JoJo staple.
Yeah, that's also a staple.
What do you think of the animation, though?
The animation? Well, it's the same as part 2, right? Season 1 and Season 1 they have like the same animation art style.
Yeah, it's the same season. I think that, like, I guess it might be just because of the character designs, but they didn't. I didn't think the animation was like that good because it just kind of feels a little bit stiff to watch.
Yeah, like compare this animation to the part 5 animation, like no contest, right?
Or even part 3, because part 3 has some, like, from what like the clips I've seen, has some really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But no, also, I thought the animation was alright.
Yeah. And also the manga art style, like Rocky, like he was still perfecting it. So you have some weird steals where Jonathan is like a giant wall.
Yeah, he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger levels of thick.
Yeah, he's like insane. Oh, but what do you think of the Hamon in this part, like as a power?
I didn't really care for Hamon that much, to be honest, because like I just think that like, well, until part 2 comes, but like especially for part 1, it's just so boring.
Yeah,
like it's just we're gonna use it to hold these leaves together so we can glide across an abyss, and I'm like, that's dumb looking.
Like they didn't show, in my opinion, like what this Hamon could do. Like, what is it? What separates this from other anime like abilities?
And I hate saying this, but part 2 does it way better. Part 2 has a lot of like interesting uses of Hamon. And I don't even finish with the part, but from what I've seen, it's so cool what they do. Because they're just more open. They're open to more like interpretations of it, and they can do much more with it. But
yeah,
I don't know.
They definitely got way more creative in part 2.
Yeah, part 1 though is just very, very boring kind of. I mean, then again, he was still figuring it out, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, like, I kind of like. I don't want to be rude to Araki. I mean, past Araki, but like, I just don't think that that's a really. I mean, I don't really think that's a good excuse, really, because I still think that there's like examples of stories just starting out. They haven't really perfected it yet, where they have like really, really good like characters still. So like, I'm gonna use an example of Star Wars, like A New Hope. They didn't really perfect kind of the universe yet. They were still kind of building it, but there's still a lot of interesting characters. And like, even though they didn't really do enough with like the Force or lightsabers, it's still like really interesting on its own.
Yeah,
And
but like, what can you do? You know?
I guess, I mean, it's not like I can go back in time and then force Iraqi to make it better.
Yeah.
Honestly, something really like something I would love to see in the future, like maybe think about is like what would Iraqi do now with part like 1? It'd definitely be way weirder and way like more like out there. Probably. I don't know if they would have stands yet or not. That would be cool to think about.
That'd be really interesting. Like Jonathan would have Hermit Purple or something.
Yeah, would Dio have the world by then though?
Yeah, he would.
Okay.
It is his stand. It is his soul.
That'd be really OP though, to have Hermit Purple against the world.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, what was the subject about? Were we talking about animation or like I forgot, my bad. We're just going on.
The art style.
Oh, the art style. Oh, art style I think is okay.
Yeah.
I think I mean, this is when Araki was like, I'm gonna make my stuff look like Fist of the North Star. And it definitely looks like Fist of the North Star. I haven't seen that show, but just like stills of like Jonathan and the manga look identical to Kenshiro.
Yeah, it's really, really strange that.
You know, this is gonna sound really weird, but for some reason it reminds me like the art style kind of gives me Devilman vibes. If it was like way more detailed though.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because they have kind of like really like cartoony like faces like Devilman. Oh, Devilman's like much more cartoony looking.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, the art style gets better. I also think that the colors are really weird. I personally, because like it's mostly with the blue of Jonathan's hair and like the blue of like his dad's mustache, and it's like this looks weird. And as JoJo went on, I think that they really like they do better with like the hair coloring and whatnot. But in part 1, it's just like a very bright like blue.
Yeah.
But I think that outside of like those kind of like, well, no, the Hamon users have really boring colors because they're all brown.
Yeah, like they're just forgettable.
Yeah, literally everything about him is boring. But no, I thought that no, but other colors like Dio's colors or Zappelli and Speedwagon's colors are done very well, and then Jonathan's final outfit's really cool.
Yeah.
And
I really like Dio's colors on his suit.
Yeah, like the red.
I think it looks awesome.
What was I gonna say? I think that the feathered collar looked better for Dio in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the animation's alright. Nothing really to write home about, but then again, it's the beginning. And like for David Productions too. This is before kind of JoJo became like big again. And that's before like their animation really stepped up from what I've seen in later parts.
Yeah.
Well,
but we're nearing the end of this episode, I think.
Wow. Yeah, we don't have much to talk about. This is really short, but you know, like part 1's also really short.
Yeah, so, this is definitely going to be the shortest episode.
Definitely. And like part 3 is going to be so long, dude. And then part 7, I don't know if I can do that.
We're going to dedicate a lot of time to it. Well, what would you put this part? Like, where would you rank it so far?
I would put it at number 1 because it's literally the only part I've completed.
That's all?
Yeah, I mean, well, if I was to rank it right now, I mean, I'm almost done with part 2, and I think part 2 is leagues better. I want to get to part 2 later, though. This is gonna be that will be a much longer episode because part 2 has a lot more to it. Now part 1's pretty alright. I'd give it like probably a 7. And it's gonna be weird because I've been talking a lot of trash about it. Well, maybe a 6, but
maybe 6.5
for you.
No, maybe you should be a little more lenient. I don't know.
I guess. I think I give it like a strong 6 because that means it's closer to a 7. Because I think that the thing with part 6 though is that even though I really didn't care about most of the things that were in it, like the middle half, I still thought that, like, oh, the outfits are cool. The setting's pretty cool, even though it's not used well. I really like Dio. I like you know, like some of the Hamon fights, the finale was cool. But then like for some reason I always felt emotion like during those death scenes.
Uh-huh.
And like, I didn't care for these characters that much. I didn't like seeing them, but I still felt something when they died.
Now you could
And I think
say that the positives and negatives of this part like balance out.
yeah. I think that like
Yeah, I'd say that
I
too.
think
Like I have like
yeah.
your same criticisms. The characters are boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like the art style is not really as good. Some of the plot should be handled better.
Yeah.
But I think I'd honestly just give it a 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right, because
definitely at the bottom for me.
because I remember like you were talking to a server and you're like, I give this an 8, and now you're giving it a 6. I'm like, oh, what changed?
Yeah, you're like reminding me of it now. Like I'm just
Right.
looking at this like yeah.
Because we both watched the anime for this, unlike
Hmm.
part 5 where you read the manga and then I'm gonna have to watch the anime, then tell him if it's better or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, but I mean, the thing with part 1 is that unlike other shows, like I actually felt something when characters I didn't care for died. I think that
Mhm.
like it would be a 5 if it weren't for the deaths, because the deaths are handled so well. But that's pretty much it for JoJo Part 1.
Yeah.
The audio might be really weird right now. I don't know because I just had to pick up my phone. But I'm gonna do something a little bit fun for the last little section, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna be testing you on this. This is gonna be a test for you, not me. I'm gonna select a video of the Part 1 musical references. I'm gonna ask you what do you think is a musical reference to what, or if you know what's a reference to what.
All right, deal.
Yeah. So I want to see how good your knowledge is.
All right.
Okay, Dio Brando. Where does the first name come from? Where does the last name come from?
Comes from the band Dio.
Mm-hmm.
Brando. Isn't it like a name of a singer in a band?
Nope.
Oh, give it to me.
It's Marlon Brando, the actor from The Godfather.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did
I guess
not know that.
Rocky was really into stuff. Like that, like movies a lot. Like some of his characters are named after actors, I think.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
what do you, Danny, the dog? Where'd he get his name from?
Not sure.
It's a song simply titled Danny's Song by the musical group Loggins and Messina, if I'm pronouncing that right.
People might get mad at us.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna get mad at us because we're just rambling a lot.
Oh, well.
Where did you think Aaron Pendleton got her name from?
No idea. I have no idea on most of these, actually.
Really?
They're
Okay, I
pretty
thought you
hard.
would. Aaron Pendleton got her name from the Beatles song Eleanor Rigby. Eleanor Rigby. Sorry, I just got tongue mixed. I ran out of water, so I can't like make my mouth not dry anymore. So it's just getting weird
Oh, yeah.
talking. But Ogre Street. Where do you think that was named after?
No idea.
A Queen song named Ogre Battle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of really weird musical references.
I'm learning a lot of new stuff, and I'm sure the viewers are learning a lot of new stuff with the musical references.
Yeah. Especially because it will introduce people to like other types of music, I think.
Hmm.
Okay, this might be really easy. Where did Robert Speedwagon get his name?
Obviously, REO Speedwagon.
Hell yeah. I actually listened to them on the radio recently because I saw they were on tour.
Yeah, were
And
they
like
good?
yeah, I listened to a song of theirs. It's really good.
Oh, nice.
It's very 80s from what I remember. Wang Chan, Dio's drug dealer.
No idea.
It came from a group called Wang Chung. It's Araki gets away with most of this stuff just by changing like 3 letters or whatever.
Yeah, what a madman.
What a mad lad. Where do you think William Zappelli got his name from?
Obviously, Led Zeppelin.
Hell yeah, I was worried you weren't gonna get that. I was gonna be all like,
Oh,
man, if
you're
he doesn't
gonna
get this one,
I'm very angry. In the
yeah,
podcast.
I would have overthrown you as a co-host, and this
Oh,
podcast
wow.
would have gone like straight into the ground because I can't function as an actual host.
Oh, my goodness.
This is gonna be really easy. Where did Poco get his name from?
Uh, I'm blanking out.
Do you want me to give you this answer? It might embarrass you though. It's from the band Coco.
I thought that was like no way it'd be that easy.
Yeah.
So he didn't
Poco's-
even change anything on that. We just straight up said Poco.
Yeah. Tarkus. You might not know this one.
Yeah, I don't think I do.
It's from a song called Tarkus, or a band named Tarkus, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. I think I think it's just the name of a band.
Huh.
So, yeah, there's a lot. I think if you weren't born in this time period, you wouldn't have gotten most of these musical references. You would have gotten most of these musical references. Bruford.
No idea.
Bill Bruford. Drummer.
Jeez, I really know nothing about the musical references, huh?
You'll probably get them later on. That'll be way easier.
Yeah, I get more of the like stand name ones more than character names.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Dire Straits. This one's also easy.
Don't be mad at me. I don't know it.
It's from the band Dire Straits.
Yeah, I know nothing about music.
It's like if you made two separate characters named Led and Zeppelin. Like, it's so dumb, but he gets away with it. Okay, this is probably gonna be easy. Ton Petty.
Well, it's an American singer.
Yeah. But who?
I have no idea.
Tom Petty.
Wow.
He just changed one letter, then made it all one. Rocky's such a mad lad.
Yeah. But honestly, what other manga does this? Adds music, so like American musical references.
You mind if I just go through the rest? I don't know if you'll know the rest of these.
Yeah, just name the rest for the viewers.
The vampire Doobie is named after the Doobie brothers.
Oh.
The audio is probably going to change because I'm leaning back in my chair and I have my phone in my hand. There's zombies in the finale, the final battle, named Page, Jones, Plant, and Bonham, which are named after the Led Zeppelin band members.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know a lot of this actually.
And let's see. This one's, I think it's only from the manga, or maybe it's from the show. I don't know. But there's this farmer in the epilogue right before the Dio ship debacle, where it mentions a farmer known as Jeff Beck saw most of the stuff that happened, and just said it was a bunch of outsiders kind of going crazy. And Jeff Beck is an actual guitarist.
Oh wow.
Father Styx is named after the band Styx, and that's all the musical references.
Oh wow. I've actually learned a lot right now. I did not expect that there were that many musical references in this part. Like
this will be much easier, much more fun to see when we actually do the stands. Yeah. But I hope that the audience got to know a little bit more though. And just to show how long we've been recording, in the background, you guys have not heard it, but I've been playing Sono Chino Sadame, but it's extended for an hour so that the last JoJo the singer does is extended for 1 hour. And that video just ended. So technically, I've watched that entire video.
Oh wow, our first episode was an hour?
Yeah, around there. Wow. So, yeah, you want to wrap things up? Because I think you can wrap it up pretty well.
Yeah.
So, how would you want to wrap this up? Because I don't think we've ever wrapped up anything before. I'm pretty bad at wrapping presents, you know? My mouth is going crazy. It's not hydrated. This show needs to end before I start saying stupid stuff.
Oh. Well, I hope you viewers enjoyed.
Yeah, we're going to be doing more. The next episode will probably be coming out soon.
Oh, lots of potential.
That'll be much more interesting, though, because we're going to have a lot more to talk about. It's kind of hard with part 1, though, because part 1's very much just part 1. And then part 2 is going to be a lot more fun. Because the problem with part 1, I think, is that it's too serious. But
it's not bizarre. Like, don't be turned away that this part isn't bizarre. It gets crazier. Trust me.
Yeah, part 2 is going to be much better for anyone who actually cares to watch it because of us recommending it to them. But we hope that
Yep.
you guys enjoyed this podcast. This is all Shin's idea, by the way. I only tagged along.
Thank you.
Shin is the real mastermind behind all this, and he helped make this podcast possible. And without him, we wouldn't be doing this right now. I just want to state that because he's a very gracious and kind host.
All
so,
right. Heading out.
Yeah. All right, heading out. You can find us on Spotify, because you're probably listening to it on either Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, or any other podcasting app. But we will be there's probably going to be a version uploaded to YouTube. That'll be fun. But yeah, I am your co-host Andrew Ascona.
I'm your host Shin.
And as we're going to say at the end of every episode,
goodbye, JoJo.
Goodbye, JoJo.